on the News Channel 5 network. This is Score on Business.
Hey, welcome to Score on Business. I'm Pete Hendricks, a serial entrepreneur, and your host for today. Score really wants to see entrepreneurs and small businesses succeed. We have a lot of things to do to help with that. Check us out, scorenashville.org. Okay, let's dive into some great material here. Our first guest is Stewart Rawley. Stewart, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pete, for having me.
Yes, and so Stewart is with Lee Company, the HVAC and many other things as well company. We all see their trucks around. He is responsible for creating the workplace where their employees can thrive, including the advancement of their customer-focused culture. Stewart, what are your most important focus areas in your role of overseeing the human side of the business?
Well, first, Pete, let me say thank you very much for having me be a part of the Score on Business.
You're
grateful
welcome
for that, and love to be a part of what you're doing here. One of the things that when I became part of the Lee Company team that was given to me primarily as my biggest responsibility was to ensure that we did whatever we could do to make sure that we created a place where our employees could thrive. And so that means anything and everything from taking care of their benefits to how they get paid, but more importantly to making sure that they understand that they're our most important asset. We've got a bunch of great trucks, we've got a great building, we've got an awesome company, but it all means nothing if we don't have great people. And so if we take care of our people, then our people will take care of our customers.
You know, it's funny how that works, and funny how so many companies don't recognize that, but especially you have folks who are going into people's homes.
Absolutely. And without a doubt, one of the things that go with that is that not only do they need to understand our culture and how we want to take care of our customers, but also they've got to have a certain perspective about when they're in someone's home, how to treat those homeowners and the respect and integrity that takes.
Yeah, one thing that really impressed me about Lee is that when your customers called and started asking for things, which led to a new division for doing the gutters and windows and doors, and that's how you build that. So as entrepreneurs begin building their team, beginning with the first employee, what are some legal areas they need to be aware of?
Well, I would say one of the first things they've got to understand is that you want to make sure that you take care of how you pay your people. Also, and understand that not only do you need to pay your people legally, but you also need to make sure that you've taken care of the insurance aspect of it. So there's some basic beginning steps in terms of establishing your federal ID, and also in terms of putting together the taxes and the insurances, like the federal unemployment insurance and your setting up your federal taxes, in addition to making sure that you've got workers' comp, because those are the things that are going to protect you as a business owner, but also are going to take care of your employees in the event that something possibly happens. So those are some of the big ways. There's a number of different ways to take care of that, whether it be through a payroll service, which can do a lot of those work for you, or that you can go to the government sites, and they are pretty self-explanatory.
And let me ask you about two things in particular. First is having people be contractors versus employees, because a lot of companies call their employees contractors. And second, about firing people, because you can just fire them, but can you share for a moment about that?
There has been a number of articles that have been written recently from the Department of Labor that says that they are particularly targeting how we classify employees, so whether they're exempt, meaning exempt from overtime or not, and whether they're actually 1099s or contractor, or whether they're an actual employee. And so that seems to be an area of particular focus that at least the federal government has been focused on taking. So one of the things is you want to make sure that you understand what the general nature of those requirements are. And again, those you can go to the DOL site, or it might be worth a little bit of an investment with a labor attorney to kind of understand what the requirements are.
Yeah, there's a 10 points that they check. And what about firing people?
The thing about, fortunately in the state of Tennessee, or in the state of Tennessee, we are a right-to-work state. So you have the right to fire somebody if they don't. The challenge is, though, that if you as a company want to make sure that you're giving your employees every opportunity to succeed, one of the things you want to make sure that you do is that you give them every opportunity to correct their performance. If for some reason you're not sure it's working out, at least to let them know the opportunity that they've got to improve.
Right.
And if they don't, then you part ways. I mean, that's part of business. Not everything works out. But really, the major part of it is that understanding what your expectations are, being able to clearly communicate that to your employee, and then if it doesn't work out, at least give them the opportunity, if they're falling short, to improve that performance.
Right, okay. So from a strategic perspective, what should entrepreneurs think about as they begin building their team?
Probably two things strike me most. One is alignment, and by alignment, meaning understanding what you as the business owner believe to be true about your mission and your vision, and being able to communicate that clearly to anybody that you bring on. And ensuring that when you hire that individual, that they are in agreement and in alignment with what your mission and your vision is and how you're going to go about doing that business. So if you're clear about what it is that is going to make you successful and what you're trying to achieve, then I believe, and you can communicate that clearly to the employees, you stand a much better chance of creating that alignment, which then allows you as an organization to move forward more effectively.
Right.
And secondarily, the other piece that I think goes along with it is understand yourself. I mean, understand what makes you tick. The things that you do well, the things you don't do well, and surround yourself with people that complement you as opposed to those that are just like you.
Right. That, boy, a truer statement has never been made. So what do leaders need to understand themselves before building a team?
The critical thing is that you as a person, I've met plenty of entrepreneurs, and Pete, I know you're one of those. You're an idea a minute kind of guy. I mean, there's definitely every opportunity you see is a new opportunity. And so understanding what makes it work for you and why would that be attractive to you. And if you understand yourself why that's attractive to you, then you also understand, okay, what have I got to do? What kind of organization have I got to put in place in order for me to be able to achieve that?
Right.
And so if you understand who you are, the big thing is it allows you to understand who you need to surround yourself with. And that's just kind of self-awareness.
Yeah, I'll tell you, for me, I have a lot of ideas. I'll spend the whole day having ideas and not doing anything. And I need folks around me that are like, hey, okay, let's get to it here.
You might be the great visionary, and you need somebody that's a doer. I mean, you got to find somebody that's great at getting things done. And so that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, so tell us about the correlation between treatment of employees with customer satisfaction and profitability.
Well, without a doubt, what we believe at Lee Company, and even companies that I worked for before coming to Lee Company, is that if we understand what our employees' needs are, then when they go out to a job site, or when they go out to a customer's home, or they interact with any of our customers, they're not necessarily going to be worrying about whether their needs are going to be taken care of. They can actually focus on what the customer needs. So they can be attentive to what's going on around them. So they can look around, and if somebody sees a particular job site or a particular home site, they may go in to work on an electrical problem. But then in the midst of looking at that electrical problem, they may realize, or they may mention, that they've got a plumbing issue as well. And so in our line of business, that's an opportunity for us to at least come in and say, well, we can potentially help you with that if you have the opportunity. So a lot of it allows them to free up the space in their own mind, so that allows them to be aware of their customers and to be able to hear what their customers are saying, so they can pick up on those little cues, whether they be verbal or nonverbal cues that they might be able to kind of look at. But really, ultimately, that allows us to be a company that really cares about our people, because the way you get treated, hopefully, is the way you're going to treat those you work with.
Yes. So, excuse me, in line with that, we've got a minute and a half or so left. Tell us about what Lee Company does to provide advancement opportunity.
Well, one of the things that we have, and one of the reasons that I was hired and have the opportunity to kind of create within our company is an opportunity to at least identify opportunities in a central place. So now we have an internal job board that all of our employees have access to, that they can go in and look at what's going on. The other thing that we're going to begin to implement and put in place is through the performance appraisal process that our supervisors have the opportunity to have those conversations with their employees to kind of say, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And give them the opportunity to have that feedback. So as we begin to combine both what they're looking for as well as what we have as an opportunity, then the next step is aligning those two pieces. So now we will begin to looking at, and we're looking at several systems that allow us to do that from a perspective of looking at the competencies for each of our jobs, looking at the available pool, which we have a pretty large pool now, of individuals that could be qualified for those jobs, and then be able to align what we need with what they want to do. And so that gives us an opportunity to put together at least some mechanisms, both from a strategic standpoint as well as from a very practical standpoint, that allows them to have input into where they want to go, but it also gives us the opportunity to recognize the opportunities that are available and how do we bring those together. And so that's my big challenge. That's without a doubt one of our most significant challenges. Good.
Well, thanks for great stuff.
Good.
Thanks for sharing with us. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. Remember, scorenashville.org.